I've got more skeletons than cemeteries hold, that made just living life feel like a funeral. The kind of traumatized no one will ever know, that made me fantasize about just letting go, until I saved my soul with what I can't control. When it rains, you can drown or you can be baptized. When you hit rock bottom, you can cry or climb. Crunch or a crown, only you decide. Victim or survivor. Be born by the battle or just wave a white flag. Deciding not to die, that might be all you have. You can make that choice and you can be your past. Victim or survivor. Victim or survivor. I got a story too, a cautionary tale. Thought I lost it all, I'm glad you let it tell. Call me a victim, like it's something like that. Put me in a prison, don't know any different. Boy, I'm not the victim, I'm the survivor. When it rains, you can shine, you can be baptized. When you hit rock bottom, you can cry or climb. Crutch or a crown, only you decide. Victim or survivor. Be born by the battle or just wave a white flag. Deciding not to die, it might be all you have. You can make a choice or you can be your past. Victim or survivor. When it rains, you can drown or you can be baptized. When you hit rock bottom, you can cry or climb. Crunch or a crown, only you decide. Victim or survivor. Be born by the battle or just wave a white flag. Deciding not to die, it might be all you have. You can make the choice and you can be your past. Victim or survivor. Victim or survivor. You can make the choice and you can be your past. Victim or survivor.
Sorry, I didn't realize you guys couldn't hear me. But now you can. So let me say hello again. Hello, eavesdropper, sweet misery, sly angel, rock gem, sunflower girl, blonde gypsy, eavesdropper I got, and for everyone else in the crowd, happy Saturday. I want you guys to all love Sweet Misery. She's the reason I'm live right now. She's like, go live, I'm bored. Hey, Joy. So, okay. What's an accident? There's a lot of things I want to discuss. Hey, I am who I say I am. All right. Couple things. But first, now I totally lost my train of fucking thought. The fuck was I just gonna say? All right, we'll go back in order. So the reason I played that song was because I feel like a lot of people around here want to play victim, and I don't know, I just never felt like people should be victims, like be a survivor no matter what. So that's just my mentality. I'm a survivor too. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like people might need a reminder. I know there's money in being a victim, but there's so many fucking haters on this platform for no reason. Like, they're just that miserable in their own fucking life. So they have to pass that misery on to other people. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. But hey, to each their own. But I wish they would take their misery, take it elsewhere, because people here really don't need it or want it. But hey, do what you got to do. Carry on. So that was one thing. Whoops. But how do I say this? I guess I don't truly understand the hate towards another human being on this platform that you're never going to meet, that you're never going to run into on the street, that you only know from YouTube. And I'm honestly not even talking about creator to creator. I'm talking about the subs. Queen Bee's chat. Holy fuck. You would think that Brittany fucked every one of their husbands and then their dads. The hatefulness or the hate that some people on this platform exude, I will never get it. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a great thing that I'll never understand it. I could see being mad at someone, but I don't get how these people hate so much. I mean, there are people I'm no longer friends with on this platform that I don't hate. I don't even hate the fucking people that's wronged me. And it's not even a matter whether you like Brittany, don't like Brittany. I'll give you an example. Queen Bee played a live that I did in 2023. She played it today. It was when me and Granny were friends. Granny and Brittany were fighting. I forgot how good that live was, but TT came on and I was watching Queen Bee's chat, and a lot of them were like, no, but that's what I'm saying, Sunflower. Subs don't make any money. So it has nothing to do with making money. And everyone in her chat was like, oh, Laura's a voice of reason. I'm always a voice of reason. But you've never given me a fucking chance. But there are many times that I'm a voice of reason. But you have creators that are jealous, that are hateful, whatever, that spin this narrative. And then their subs are like, oh, well, we don't like her. And she's so this. You've never even given me a fucking chance. Why don't you try giving me a chance first before you say how horrible I am? So after my live last night, I turned on Queen Bee. Queen Bee had a panel of people. I don't know who was on panel, but one of them was Voices. Another one, I think, was B10, but don't hold me to that. Of course, Rowena. Like anyone gives a fuck about Rowena's advice. And there was somebody else. I just don't remember who. And it could have been more for all I know. And by the way, Kurt was in there, as expected. He didn't jump on panel, but he was in there. So, Kurt, if you're listening, gotcha. So, Queen Bee had a panel of people. Queen Bee was busy watching Brittany and worrying everything that Brittany was saying. Oh, Clue was there, you're right. So then you go over to Brittany's, and Brittany's people are watching Queen Bee. That's when I realized this obsession is real. This is beyond creator to creator. When you have a panel and you have 17, I think she had 2,000 people in there at this point. You have 2,000 people in your live and you're worried about what Brittany is saying? Are these 2,000 people fucking dropped on their head because they're stupid? Then you got Brittany over there, who I think her panel guests were busy watching Queen Bee and worried about what Queen Bee was saying. Last time I checked, why don't you worry about your own audience? And I almost asked Brittany for a link and I almost said something. And I almost told her, Brittany, what are you doing? Stop allowing these people to fucking worry about what Queen Bee is saying. Your audience is not here for fucking Queen Bee. But then Brittany said something that kind of like she didn't want to hear it. So I really got to the point I couldn't listen anymore. But the bees, they don't give a shit. They don't fucking care that Queen Bee is not even paying attention to her panel, not paying attention to her audience. The only thing she was worried about was fucking what Brittany was saying and what Brittany was doing. Why? I just don't get it. Like, why? But the thing is, are they all lies? Because not all of them are lies. I mean, Brittany hasn't exactly been perfect. And anyone who thinks she has, and I'm not saying she's done half the shit they're accusing her of, but I mean, a lot of this stuff has gone on for a very long time. And I know Granny was fighting with Brittany back in 2023. Hey, fur baby was fighting with Brittany back in 2023. I had them both on panel and it just went crazy. You would think so, I am, but that's kind of not true, actually. I mean, Queen Bee gets all the money from ignoring her chat. So there's that. And I agree with that, sweetie pie. Absolutely agree with that. One would think that Queen Bee subs would get frustrated that this is happening. You would think they would get frustrated that Queen Bee is not even paying attention to them and worried about what Brittany's doing. And then you have Clue and Cletus that are going on about what Brittany's doing. Who gives a fuck what Brittany is doing? And I don't know why Brittany fucking cares. Brittany should just block and delete. It's like on one hand, is she enjoying it? I don't know. They never were though, fur baby. But it's going both ways, sweetie pie. That's what I realized last night and today. It's definitely going both ways. It's not just one way. Brittany is no longer just responding. She's engaging. And now I understand what people are saying that she's fully engaging in it, because she is. Queen Bee doesn't. She can strike if she really wanted to. I mean, she could strike Clue and she could strike Queen Bee, but she doesn't. And I don't know why. And the only thing I can come up with is that she's kind of enjoying it because she could strike them. And knowing that Queen Bee is a striker. Queen Bee is a definite striker, but I feel like And this is just my opinion, but I feel like Britney pays more attention to trolls than she does her own people. And that's the problem. No, it's definitely not staged. I get what you're saying, but it's definitely not staged. And 6 Up, were you fucking dropped on your head? Why would you say that that was Britney when it was clearly not Britney? Like, that was fucked up. If people are running me down all day, I'd wanna know what my subs are hearing. See, I wouldn't. I would kinda she has said strike wars never end well, and she doesn't want that to happen. Yeah, but what I'm saying is if she just struck and didn't play Queen Bee, there's nothing Queen Bee could do. If she was to ignore them completely and strike them, if she knows how to strike, obviously I don't, but some people know how to strike. Sinner knows how to strike. I got to ask him how to do it. But if people are attacking you nonstop and you don't want that, then ignore them or strike them or both. But she's not doing that. And they would be the first ones to strike her. Queen Bee said it once. But she could take them all out. Literally, she could take them all out. And she doesn't. Because she's engaging in it. That's why. Hey, Valentina. Yes, I have reported it multiple times. And the sad part is, Valentina, is that when you look up my name, that is the first one to come up, and that's sick. And I have tried fucking contacting YouTube. I'm gonna have to ask Sinner how to get rid of it because Sinner knows how to do that. I suck at striking is what it comes down to. I really do. I completely suck at striking. But Sinner seems to be good at it. So I'm gonna ask him for help on how he did it, how he got that channel down, because I need to get that channel down. I mean, there's a lot of channels about me, but that one uses my picture, my name, everything, and I want it gone. Not that another one couldn't pop up instead, but I want it gone. And it's total fucking bullshit. I even thought about suing fucking YouTube for doing nothing, but you can't. They're not even in the States. So, yeah, if she was to ignore them and do something about it, then something might happen. But she doesn't. She feeds right into it. Yeah, I've tried all that. Because YouTube has millions upon millions of creators, and sometimes they do something, sometimes they don't. Hey, Be Real. There's a lot of YouTube headquarters, but they're not in the States. YouTube is owned by Google. Google's not in the States. I mean, I don't know. They say they're in California, but I was told they're not. I was told they're overseas. So, I don't know. But YouTube does nothing. I've even tried domestic terrorism, bullying. Why doesn't, and I went through YouTube, I went through Twitter, I went through everything. Because some hateful cunt just cannot stop fucking. And you know what it is? I don't even give a shit that they are, Google might be, but YouTube isn't. There's no way to get a hold of YouTube other than Twitter. And if you go to YouTube help, it's not in the States. So there's that. But anywho, we're getting off subject. Okay. You can argue with me all day long. You could tell me Google headquarters is in California. I get it. But if you try to get a hold of anybody for YouTube, they are not in the United States. That is what I'm trying to tell you. I've been around a long time. So again, you could say, oh, the headquarters is in California. Great. But I'm telling you that if you try to reach YouTube or anyone from YouTube, they're going to tell you they're not in the United States. That's what I'm trying to say. And yes, I have. There's no way to reach YouTube. There's no complaint department. There's nobody that you can get a hold of from YouTube other than Twitter. Yeah, like the call centers. And they're all fucking stupid. You ever try to go through YouTube help? They are so dumb. Like they're pointless. They're not even worth helping. India, yes. But yeah, they do. I agree, Valentina. Yeah, even people that have like I know that 10 to Life when her channel got hacked and she has a personal somebody because she's got that many subscribers. And I think it even took her days to get a hold of someone. And she's like got almost at the time, I think she had like 500,000 subscribers. So yeah. All right. So getting back on topic, but I agree with you. Everyone should report that channel. Like I said, I'm going to ask Sinner how to get it the fuck down because I'm sick and tired of it. And it just goes back to what fucking assholes these people are. So, Valentina, thank you for reporting it. Definitely appreciate it. Although it's not going to do anything because YouTube don't give a fuck. All right. Okay. Well, can you get a hold of them for me? I am who I say I am. Find out how to fucking do something. Because not only is it a privacy violation, hold on. Not only is it a privacy violation, it is bullying. It is so many things. There are so many things wrong with the channel. It's pathetic. And the fact that somebody took the time to even make the channel makes it even more fucking sad to begin with. But I don't want to get off topic. And I don't want to get aggravated because I really don't. So let's get back on topic. I will never understand. All right, now I lost my train of thought. Now I forgot it. Fuck. I totally lost my train of thought. There's a channel called Perplex Number One Fan that uses my picture. And for some reason, when you pull up Perplexed, that channel comes up. So I can't even give my channel to people because of that account. And that's fucked up. I would never do that to somebody. I don't care to do that to somebody. And, people think it's a big fucking joke. It's not a joke. This is one of my jobs. It's not a fucking joke. But they don't give a shit. All they see is their own fucking hatred. Or they think it's funny. Ha ha ha. There's nothing fucking funny about it. It's gross. And it will be gone. I just got to figure it out, but it will be gone. And if another one pops up, that'll be gone too. Thank you. That's what I was going to say next to Sweetie Pie. People want to call her a grifter. No, I'm definitely not going to pin it. All you have to do is just go to Perplex #1 fan. It'll come up. Yesterday, she contacted him on the station. Was terminated. She asked about her money. I can't remember if that was Brittney. Yeah, but that was a couple of years ago. Things have changed. All right. I have been saying this for a very, very long time. And obviously, nobody fucking listens. But I've been saying this for a long time. People want to say this one's a grifter, that one's a grifter, this one's a grifter, that one's a grifter. It's their fucking channel. They can run their channel any way they like. If you don't like the way they run their channel, change it. There's no bigger grifter than someone that has raised over a 200,000 in a lawsuit that is stagnant. Think about it. Think about it. Think about how just because you may not. All right, let me back up. The mentality of a lot of these people, I don't know why, but the mentality of a lot of these people is ignore the chat and then you'll get super chats. And it works. It absolutely works. It is shown from channel to channel to channel. If you ignore your chat, they will pay to talk to you. They will pay for recognition. So that's all Queen Bee does. She doesn't need to ask because she will ignore the fuck out of the chat. So you have to pay. You have to pay. That's grifting. Because someone that actually cared about their subs would acknowledge their subs. But in this community, it seems to be the opposite. And I have been proving this over and over and over again. And I said, one day, don't be shocked. I'm going to change. And people think I'm joking. I'm not joking. One day, I'm going to do what everybody else does. Because doing it my way doesn't get appreciated as much. I know that sounds crazy, but it doesn't. And I know you guys appreciate it, but really the overall community, they don't want you to acknowledge them. That's obvious because the biggest creators in the community don't acknowledge them and they just pay for it. I've seen people pay for the lolcow community that I've never seen give a fucking dime here. And not here in my chat, I mean in this community. But they have no problem paying the lolcow community. Why? Because you have to. That's all the lolcow community is. E-beg, 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 e-beg. And that's their thing. And people are going to pay because they have no choice. You want to get acknowledged, you want your comment heard, you're going to pay. So that's why I said, don't be surprised one day if I completely ignore chat and you guys, I'm going to go to what every other creator in this fucking platform does. So, well, honestly though, if you are donating that much, you have to be able to afford it. I mean, honestly, you have to be. There's no way that you could afford to drop like 400 a day and not afford it. You know what I mean? Like super chats are connected to your credit card. So you kind of have no choice. But Amanda, you know what I'm talking about too. And I've seen that over and over and over and over. I've seen people that used to be here that are now over at Queen Bee's never donated a fucking dime to me ever, yet are donating to Queen Bee just to get attention. How sick is that? I would acknowledge this person, talk to this person. This person was engaged, never donated a dime. Hops over to Queen Bee, realizes it's the only way she's going to get any attention. So let's donate. That's fucked up, but I've seen it more than once. And I'm like, you know what? I see the way it is. It's just the way it is. So, okay. So let me get back on track here. My whole point is by acting like that, that's a grift. When you know that you're never going to get acknowledged unless you pay, that's a grift without having to say anything. Brittany acknowledges her chat. I've seen Granny acknowledge her chat. But Queen Bee, completely never. Does not acknowledge it unless you pay her. Clue, I notice, is now taking after Queen Bee with her 20-minute intro and not, totally ignoring the chat unless they're paying. I don't know about Jay. I don't watch her. But Clue is doing what Queen Bee does. That's grifting. Whether you realize it or not, that's a grift. Just because something doesn't have to be outright said, every time Queen Bee says, hey, let's make the haters mad, that's a grift. That's like the oldest fucking grift in the whole wide world. Hold up. Here, Booga. I mean, that's literally the oldest grift in the book. But I understand that people want to be a part of something. People want to feel like there's a mission. I get it. I really, truly do. I get it. But I don't understand why that mission is hating Brittany. Why do people want to come together to hate someone else? That's the part I don't get. That's the part I may never get. If I want a group of people to come together, it's for a good cause, not for hate. For example, I was listening to a creator today, not in this community, someone I never heard of, talk about those two kids, I forgot their names, two kids that from Lily and the other one. And I was listening to him on his video. It's a very interesting case, honestly. I was not following it, but listening to his video today about the parents and the Jack and Lily, the drug paraphernalia that was found, it looks really fucking interesting. Why all these assholes are not covering it, I don't know. They covered it for like one day. From what I heard, this might be a good deep dive. But they're all so busy worrying about hate. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. While they're all worried about hate, I think I'm going to do some deep diving. Kids don't just disappear. The fact that these parents seem guilty as fuck, kind of got me interested. The fact that all these other assholes are all over fucking Brittany, I was like, all right, now might be a good time to go in head first. So I think a lot of people are, Joy. Are you familiar with the whole story? Like, I had no idea. I just thought it was 2 kids who disappeared from Canada. Didn't follow it, didn't listen to anyone about it, didn't really care about it. Like, okay, more missing kids. They're gonna blame the parents. But, oh my god, the parents? Holy shit. Yeah. From what I heard, they're guilty as fuck. And they're fake, and oh, I have a lot of things. A lot of comments on it. They're too scared of the judgment of their opinion by the people they said. What do you mean? Are you familiar with this one? I'll play this guy's video. I hope he don't get mad, but I'll play his video. And you'll see where I'm at. Yeah, I could play it. Oh, mom and stepdad, not the father, the mom and stepdad. Let me pull it up. It was a good it's not that long. It's a pretty good video. Let me get it. Hope he's cool. I don't think he's a big creator either. I think he's a pretty small creator. But I'll give you guys this link too. I didn't listen to any of his other videos. Here it is. He's got 12,000 subscribers. He's called True Crime Stories Hour. But this video has 200,000 views. All right. Here's the guy's link. Oh, they're too scared to have an opinion in any true crime case because the people they sit with have fake outrage. That is true. All right. So here we go. He uses AI voice, which I fucking hate, but
The last few days have been very stressful. I mean, ever since the Friday morning when we noticed that the children were gone. Immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there.
When somebody goes missing and we become engaged as any police officer, not just major crime, we will look at all the details and make considerations on the information we have, right? When it comes to a missing person, we have to automatically consider are there people that have different charter implications and things like that? So we will automatically start to consider what evidence is pointing us towards a suspicious in nature. Again, I can't comment more than that, but every missing person case, we would approach it from the same process, a methodical collection and review of information with decisions based on that.
When 2 young children vanish without a trace, the first instinct is to search the woods. But in the case of Lily and Jack Sullivan, the deeper you look, not into the forest, but into the story, the more unsettling it becomes. Conflicting timelines, emotionless interviews, and
by the way, I'm pretty sure he changes this voice At about 10 minutes in.
A house that holds more silence than answers. In this episode, we're not just revisiting the facts, we're examining the cracks.
I mean, look at where they live. Who I understand there's people that are poor, but no child should live in that fucking direction at all. Yeah, but you know what, Missy? This is why I stayed away from the case, because they were all covering it at like one day. And I was like, you know what? This is not a case I would touch. But now they're also invested in Brittney. I may do a deep dive. This video got me very interested in it.
From parental behavior to physical inconsistencies, these red flags don't just whisper suspicion. They raise questions that no one seems willing to answer. Let's take a closer look at everything that doesn't quite add up. They said they were asleep, both of them, in a remote trailer home tucked deep in the Nova Scotian woods. Two adults, a mother and her partner, claim they slept in until 9:40 a.m., while three children were inside the house. And when they finally woke up, two of them were gone.
And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time.
A mother, Maleha Brooks Murray, and her boyfriend, Daniel Martell, say they awoke late, much.
See, here's my question, though. This was question number 1. How did you know they went outside through the sliding glass door if you were sleeping? There's no way you could have known how they went out if you were sleeping. That is something that kind of struck me. I agree with you, Adakor.
Too late, nearly 10 o'clock. Long past the hour most parents would already be alert, attentive, and present, especially in a home surrounded by dense forest, with no fences, no neighbors in earshot, and three small children under one roof. According to them, Lily and Jack had simply been playing. There was laughter, movement, then silence, a 20-minute gap. That's when Daniel says he grabbed his keys and drove off to search. And Malahia, she says she called the police almost immediately. But that timeline, even on paper, begins to collapse under scrutiny. Because Lily, the older child, was said to be sick that morning, kept home from school. If that's true, why were both adults still asleep? Who was caring for her while she was ill? Who was watching over her 4-year-old brother? And why, in a case where every second could mean the difference between life and death, does it feel like no one was watching the clock? When Daniel Martell appeared on camera, he didn't speak like a man reeling from loss. He spoke like a man delivering lines. In interview after interview, the words stayed the same, repeated with uncanny precision, down to the phrasing, the tone, the pauses, as if scripted, as if memorized, as if someone had pressed rewind and play on a narrative too polished to reflect chaos.
I'm still holding out hope. I don't know why they didn't find anything from Jack's pull-up to her backpack or any of her belongings at all. They just haven't found anything.
But it wasn't just the repetition. It was the way he held himself, the absence of struggle in his voice, the lack of any visible disconnect between thought and language. There were no signs of someone trying to piece together scattered memories, just smooth, deliberate answers, as if he was guiding the story, not reliving it. Meanwhile, Malahaya's presence offered a different kind of discomfort. Her words stumbled, sentences fractured, but beneath the disarray was a pattern, an aversion to ownership. She rarely used the word I. Everything became We shared responsibility, diffused guilt. She stood next to Daniel in words, but not in presence. And then something more unsettling surfaced. Instead of framing their missing children as beloved, protected, or irreplaceable, both adults chose a different lens. They described Lily and Jack as too trusting, too friendly, the kind of children who talk to anyone. It wasn't grief. It wasn't worry. It was something colder, an unspoken suggestion that what happened could somehow be explained by the victims themselves. In missing persons cases, parents often cling to hope. They plead. They defend their children fiercely, refusing to believe that danger could touch them. But Daniel and Malachia's tone didn't build a wall of protection around Lily and Jack. It built a pathway, one that excused the possibility of abduction, one that subtly placed blame not on a perpetrator, but on the children's innocence. When someone offers to take a polygraph, it's usually seen as a gesture of transparency, of someone with nothing to hide. But in the case of Daniel Martell, the gesture wasn't the ending to suspicion, it was the beginning of something else entirely. From the start, Daniel positioned himself as cooperative, calm, controlled. And when public doubt began to surface, he made a move that many interpreted as brave. He volunteered to take a lie detector test. It was a statement, a performance of honesty. But the timing, the details, and the conditions surrounding that decision told a different story.
You said they're flying in someone to do a polygraph test. Is that on you?
That's not just on me, but on everyone. That's what I asked for. I asked for that so early on, and there's not many places that do it in Canada, so they're flying somebody in.
Why do you think you need to do that? Do you think they don't believe you?
I think their side of the family doesn't believe me, and I just want to clear it up for everyone. Clear it up for everyone, not just the people online making crazy accusations.
Daniel didn't just offer to take a polygraph. He insisted it could only be conducted by a specialist.
That's weird to me, though. Like, I'm pretty sure the police can do a polygraph, but the fact that he wanted a specialist to come in, I don't know. I'm never going to judge parents for the way they respond to something or the way they act. So at this point, I don't totally agree with, judging them just based on things they said. Nobody knows what you're going to do or how you're going to act if kids disappeared. But it's further on in the video that I really make my conclusion.
Brought in from elsewhere, as if the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, one of the most advanced forensic agencies in North America, somehow lacked the proper expertise. The excuse didn't hold, not in a country equipped with national-level resources, trained polygraph examiners, and forensic infrastructure. Instead of clearing his name, the request did the opposite. It delayed everything. And in criminal investigations, delay is never neutral. Time distorts memory, it scatters focus, it weakens public pressure, and more importantly, it creates space. Space for stories to be refined, for appearances to be managed, and for trust to quietly unravel. In the middle of a scheduled search meeting, with law enforcement, volunteers, and reporters watching, Malahia Brooks Murray quietly stepped away. She entered an ambulance for reasons never made public and never returned. No final statement, no plea, no presence. One moment, she was the center of the family's narrative. The next, she was gone. Daniel Martell, her partner, later claimed she had cut all contact, that she blocked him, that he didn't even know where she went. And the silence didn't stop there. Malaya reactivated her Facebook account briefly, just long enough to change her relationship status to single and replace her profile picture. Then, just as quickly, the account was gone again. And in criminal investigations, especially those involving children, distance becomes its own kind of evidence. Because while it's natural to withdraw from the spotlight out of pain, strategic withdrawal tells a different story. It suggests division, disagreement, or worse, an effort to detach from a narrative that may no longer be under control. What should have been a moment of unity became a fracture. A mother vanishing from the investigation, erasing her digital presence, and severing ties with the only other adult in the home, not to seek peace, not to heal, but to disappear before the questions caught up with her. According to the official report, 6-year-old Lily and her younger brother Jack were last seen around 8 a.m. on May 2nd, playing quietly outside their rural home. That's the version their parents told police. That's the version first released to the public. But it didn't take long before that date, May 2nd, started to feel more like a curtain than a clue, because school records revealed something else entirely. Neither child had attended school that entire week, and the school bus driver confirmed that the last time he saw them was on Tuesday, April the 29th.
So that right there was one of my red flags. Right there, I don't believe they went missing that day. I think they were missing for a couple of days, because why weren't they at school? How come nobody saw them at school? That to me is a huge part of the story. Nobody has seen them since Tuesday. Tuesday is probably when they disappeared.
3 days before the family ever called police. No one saw them on Wednesday, no one saw them on Thursday, and yet on Friday morning their parents suddenly reported them missing, just hours after supposedly hearing them play in the next room. But if that story were true, why had no one outside the home seen the children in days? These missing days, April 30th and May 1st, have since become some of the most heavily scrutinized in the case. Investigators refer to them as the gap days, and for good reason, because those are the hours where anything could have happened, and no one was watching. Malahia Brooks Murray, the children's mother, told police she kept the kids home because Lily had a cough, but there's no medical record, no pediatrician's note, no pharmacy visit, no witness. Just two adults already under pressure, explaining away a disappearance with nothing but their word.
Yeah, but was it really debunked, Sly? The reason I'm saying that, I would lie for my kid. I have said this millions of times. If my kid was in trouble, regardless it was my own grandkid, I would lie for my child. So I don't necessarily believe it was family that saw them. That's just my own personal feeling.
Even more disturbing, there was no Amber Alert issued.
I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now, but we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing.
Despite the fact that two small children had allegedly vanished in the middle of a wooded, isolated area, authorities never triggered a provincial alert. No emergency broadcast, no highway signs, no phone notifications, just silence. It's a decision that stunned the public, But for seasoned investigators, it may have signaled something deeper: doubt. Because Amber Alerts aren't just reserved for known abductions. They're tools to mobilize attention when time matters most. And their absence here suggests that from the very beginning, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police suspected that something wasn't adding up, not in the forest, but at home.
I know they took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white, strawberry.
Like, how would he know all that? I thought they were sleeping till 9:50. How would they possibly know what she was wearing and everything? That was like another big red flag for me.
Strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up one for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Right beside the house, probably 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
Nothing new, other than the helicopters are still in the air, and they had dogs. They took around the dogs today, and as of last night, they had 8 more drones going on with infrared. I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to.
It started with something simple: a question about what 4-year-old Jack was wearing the morning he vanished. According to the initial statement, he had been in nothing but a pull-up diaper and his dinosaur print shoes, a detail that would strike any parent as painfully specific. But then, quietly, that story changed. Later interviews described Jack in brown pants and a matching brown shirt, fully dressed. No explanation was offered for the shift, no acknowledgement that a correction had even been made. But in a case where 2 children are missing without a trace, the idea that a parent can't recall what their child was wearing is not just concerning, it's a signal, a red flag waving in plain sight. In a case clouded by silence, it's often the smallest,
Now that I completely disagree with, and I've said this before. I could not tell you what my son was wearing a half hour ago. If Dayton went missing and the police said to me, "What is your son wearing?" I'd be like, I think he was wearing a gray shirt and black shorts. I think. But I know before that, I don't know. I couldn't remember what he was wearing 3 hours ago. So you don't think your kid's going to go missing? So that's one thing I disagree with and always have.
quietest details that carry the most weight. And for 6-year-old Lily Sullivan, that detail may have been a pink blanket. Software innocent, easily overlooked until it became the only possible thread linking a missing child to a timeline already fallen apart. Weeks after Lily and her brother Jack vanished, a recording surfaced, an internal communication that changed everything. In the audio, a woman's voice, believed to be Lily's mother, suggests that her daughter's favorite pink blanket might have been left behind, somewhere in the woods. It's a brief comment, almost forgettable, but its implications are enormous, because in earlier reports, it wasn't the mother who spoke about the blanket. It was Daniel Martell, the children's stepfather, who had confidently told investigators it had already been found near the home. He didn't hesitate. He didn't speculate. He stated it as fact. Now, with this new recording, the question isn't just where the blanket is, it's who first said what and why their stories don't match. When evidence is scarce and emotions run high, even something as gentle as a child's blanket can become the loudest contradiction of all. And then there's the door. According to the parents, the children slipped out through the sliding glass door sometime early in the morning, but there was no sound, no alert, nothing to stir two adults who claimed they were just feet away, asleep in the next room. Yet anyone who's ever lived in a small mobile home knows this. You hear everything: the thud of footsteps, the squeak of hinges, the slide of a door, especially a door that's not designed to close quietly. The idea that two children could open a glass door and step outside without waking a single adult in the house is more than unlikely. It's implausible, especially when the house layout makes it nearly impossible to move without being noticed. No footprints, no torn fabric, no drag marks in the dirt, not even a scent trail for the K9 units to follow. It was as if the forest had swallowed them whole, but without disturbing a single leaf. Search and rescue teams, some with decades of experience, called it one of the most perplexing sights they'd ever encountered. In typical lost child scenarios, even under dense canopy or poor weather, dogs will usually catch something, any residual trace of presence. But this time, they didn't. The terrain was scent-rich. Still, the air held nothing. Only one partial clue was ever noted: two small footprints near the rear of the trailer. But even that raised more questions than answers. If two children had been playing outside that morning, why only two prints? Why only one set of tracks? Inside the home, investigators found chaos. Toys scattered, trash in the yard, the kind of disarray that didn't scream panic or grief, but carelessness. It didn't look like a place that had just suffered the terror of a child's disappearance. It looked lived in, unbothered, routine. And in a case built on the absence of evidence, even the mess becomes part of the mystery. In most missing child cases, the search starts big and tightens over time. But in the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan, something strange happened. It started big, then stopped altogether. And when it resumed, it did so quietly, cautiously, like someone had seen something they weren't ready to explain. For the first 7 days after the call came in, RCMP poured resources into the wooded terrain surrounding the family's rural home. Helicopters, drones, ground teams, K9 units. It was an exhaustive operation, at least at first. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the search was suspended. No press conference, no final push, no closure. It simply ended. For 10 days, the woods fell silent, until, without warning, search teams were called back. But this time, they didn't comb new areas. They returned to the home, the ground around it, the spots they had already scoured. But why? Officials didn't say it was due to a tip. No new evidence had surfaced. Yet the decision to return so specifically to re-examine ground that had supposedly already been cleared raised a question no one could ignore. What had changed behind the scenes? Then came the issue with the dogs. In cases like this, search dogs are a lifeline. Their ability to detect scent trails, both fresh and decaying, has led to countless recoveries. And in this case, conditions were ideal. The terrain was cool, wooded, and held moisture well, perfect for trapping scent. But still, no trail was found. Some experts suggested the smell of the children might have been too concentrated near the house, too familiar, making it difficult for scent-specific dogs to distinguish direction. Others proposed something more troubling: that the children if they had left the home, did so in a way that left no biological trace behind, which would be highly unusual unless, of course, someone had intentionally erased it. And then came the surveillance request. RCMP made a formal call for private camera footage, not from May 2nd, the day the disappearance was reported, but from April 27th onward, a full 5 days before Lily and Jack were officially declared missing. It was a quiet but telling move, one that revealed a fracture in the foundation of the entire case.
I did mention to them that I was very happy to see them and glad that they were canvassing a little further and looking at trail cam footage. And they did respond saying that they probably should have been around earlier.
Because if police were searching for footage from before the day the children supposedly vanished, it means they weren't just doubting the story. They were doubting the day it began. In any investigation, strategy speaks. Where resources go, when they stop, and what is quietly requested in the background. And in the case of Lily and Jack Sullivan, the movements of the RCMP suggest a chilling possibility that the truth may have been hidden long before the search ever began. One neighbor who lived just a few hundred meters away told reporters something no one expected. They didn't even know children lived in that house. Neighbors also described an unusual volume of foot traffic on the property. Unfamiliar cars coming and going at odd hours, people they didn't recognize, stepping out, staying briefly, and leaving. The pattern wasn't just strange, it was predictable, enough to raise concerns about drug activity and enough to keep many locals from asking questions out loud. Inside the home, investigators reportedly found drug paraphernalia. Not pills, not prescriptions, but the kind of tools that suggest active use. According to circulating reports, Child Protective Services had already intervened, requiring Malaya Brooks Murray to leave the residence with the one remaining child in her custody. And while none of these details prove
That's another thing I find odd. If I had a missing child, I'm not leaving the house. I am staying there until my child is found. So they tell her to leave the house. She leaves her husband or a boyfriend or whatever, which is very odd. But you leave. What if your kids come back? Who's there?
criminal intent in the disappearance of Lily and Jack. They shift the lens entirely, from accident to negligence, from abduction to concealment, from tragedy to potential cover-up. Rumors deepened further when the name Henry Brooks began surfacing online, a man suspected in the past of drug trafficking and weapons offenses. Some believe he may be related to the family, or at least connected to the property where Lily and Jack lived. Others pointed to Daniel Martell's older brother and additional adults said to frequent the land, describing loud parties, strange behavior, and a house that felt more like a hub than a home. This case isn't just haunted by what's missing, it's defined by what doesn't make sense. At every turn, red flags rise like warnings in the dark, timelines that shift, words too rehearsed, a home too quiet, and parents too distant. From a silent sliding door to a pink blanket lost in contradiction, each detail adds weight to a story that won't hold. We may never know exactly what happened to Lily and Jack Sullivan, but if the answers lie anywhere, they're not buried in the forest. They're buried in the silence. And silence, in this case, is screaming.
Thank you for watching True Crime.
So that was the video that got me interested in the case. Let me give you the guy's channel again. I should subscribe since I just played his video. Here's his channel. It looks like they is that his whole channel? I think it might be his whole channel. No. Nah, he has other stuff. All right, let me just let him know I watch his video. All right. So, like I said, that's the video that got me interested in the case. And I don't know, I guess I'll watch the rest of his stuff. I don't know. Sounds like he was a drug dealer. Well, AI doesn't have an answer. It says, based on the information available, the stepfather of Jack and Lily is Daniel Martell. Unfortunately, the provided context doesn't specify what Daniel Martell does for work. Michelle After Dark says stepdad passed polygraph. All right, Reddit says what Sly said. It's saying they believe they wandered away. Yeah, I don't believe that. Oh. I don't know. I have to go through it. Mother was told by authorities she could remain in the trailer, but the baby could not due to safety issues. Therefore, she left to be with family. Stepfather's mother, who owns a trailer, told her and her family to leave as the mother's family was accusing him of hurting the kids. I'm on Reddit. So, yeah. All this got me really interested in the case. His video got me pretty interested. I'm like, you know what? This seems pretty good. And it looks like it's way more intricate. Let me tell you, it's way more interesting than Queen Bee, Brittany, or the drama between them. So as long as the boob tubes are not covering it, I think I'm going to go all in. because it's a lot of twists and turns. And it's going to be a lot of research, but I think a little bit each night would be good. But Sweet Misery, are you at work or are you home? No, I don't watch him. I haven't watched him since I think it was him that I'm thinking of. I know. All right, you want a link since you know more about this case? Because you seem to know a lot about it. See, but with this one, I'm like, are they really missing or were they killed? What did the mother's comment mean when she said she thinks the girl left the pink blanket behind? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Behind where? Did you traffic your own children for drugs? Oh, I thought you knew about the case. Yeah, but that's another thing. You and your boyfriend lose 2 kids together and you break apart? That doesn't seem right either. Wouldn't you wanna be close? Wouldn't you form a bond between you? And what if the kids come back? What if they did get lost in the woods? And that was the other red flag I have. Okay, so let's say they did get lost in the woods. I think what the narrator was trying to say, and again, it's something I have to look into, but I think what the narrator was trying to say is that the police feel there were no broken branches, there was no footprints, there's nothing that led them to believe that they were in the woods at all. So why and the initial report, the kid was in a diaper. Okay, no kid is wandering off in a diaper when it's cold out. I think the parents did something the night before and used that as an excuse. Now, I know that I'm not every parent, but I can tell you first fucking hand, when my kids were young, if they breathed wrong, I woke up. People used to say to me, I don't understand how you don't sleep more. I said, because I have 3 kids. And if one of them makes a move, if one of them sneezes, I wake up. Even the dogs get me up. As soon as Phoenix used to wake up, the dog would get me up. I'm like, they're like 14. I don't need to be up just because they're up. But Buka had to wake me as soon as the kids got up. And Phoenix was always up at like 6:30 in the morning. But as soon as they got up, Buka felt I needed to be up. But literally, they sneeze and I wake up. A lot of people have said when I talked about it today that the narrator was correct, that most of the facts are correct. Now, that video was from 6 days ago. Something could have changed. Like someone was saying something may have changed. That's possible. But in the woods, and this just like bugs can tell you how long someone's dead, in the woods, somebody is going to step on a branch. There's going to be broken twigs. There's going to be footprints in the dirt or in the leaves or certain things. Why were there only one set of footprints behind the trailer if 2 kids were playing? Doesn't make sense. And there was no trail leading anywhere. If there were footprints behind the trailer, then there's going to be footprints in other places. And there was nothing. And I don't understand the central being dead either. Web sleuths talked about autism. All right. After nearly a week of extensive searching in dense woodland, authorities have acknowledged the likelihood of finding children alive is now considered very low. Nonetheless, the investigation remains active. See, there was also looking at it from this angle. Hold on. Look at this. These are little kids. There's a gate. So how'd they get out? There's a gate this way and a gate this way. So how would they get out? Very rare for kids that young to know how to do the gate and stuff. But then again, this player set was outside of the gate. I don't know. It's locked in all over though. So how would they get out? How would they get in the woods? It's closed in over here and it's closed in over here. And this is closed in. So I'm not buying that they just walked in the woods. It's all closed off. I mean, everything was pretty protected. So even if they got out the green gate, this is all closed off. So it's not like they just had free access to the woods. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that in his video that everything was closed off, but it was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not buying what they're selling. Here, here's another angle to it. Thank you, Adacor. That video 6 hours ago. All right. But you see what I'm saying? This is all closed off. Everything was fenced in. So to think that 2 young kids just went in the woods? No way. Yeah, it may have had holes, but for 4-year-olds? I mean, hell, at least they had a fence, which is more than most. I mean, if they came out this gate and just played, nobody from the road is going to see them. Like anything from the road is blocked off from this house. So it's not like some stranger is going to come get them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not buying that they were taken. Unless they were taken by someone they know. All right, let me check out Deceptive. Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched him. It's only 7 minutes.
It's been 4 weeks since Daniel Martell has seen his stepchildren. 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were reported missing Friday, May 2nd, after they wandered out of their Pictou County home.
Oh, he's a cutie. I didn't realize he was this cute.
They have not been found after weeks of extensive searching the heavily wooded area.
Every day when I wake up,
Well, hello, Deceptive Detective. Woohoo. Why didn't you guys tell me he was cute?
it's just feels like I'm reliving a nightmare of May 2nd. But the main feelings of from sadness have just turned to anger because there's no evidence as of after 1 month.
It took a month, but we finally have a news report that gives us more answers about the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan from Nova Scotia than new questions. So in today's video, let's watch this report from CBC News and break it down. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For exclusives, early access, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If you've been following my analysis of this case, you already know how frustrated I've been with how vague and ambiguous the updates have been from the RCMP and the Canadian broadcasters. So before we grab our deception decks and watch this one, here's a quick taste of what I'm talking about, just so you can properly appreciate why I say it's the clearest report we've had in a month.
Based on details gathered so far, we have confirmed that Lily and Jack were observed in public with family members on the afternoon of May 1st.
Being observed in public could be anything from getting caught on CCTV camera footage, which is great, to just simple eyewitness testimony, which is not so great. But what concerns me most about this, and where I've seen most people take the biggest leap about this, is assuming that Lily and Jack were alive when they were seen. If you've seen my series about Madeline Soto, you'll know that she was also seen in public and even caught on camera, but she was dead at the time.
The stepfather tells me he's been cooperating with the police, including providing a polygraph test, which he did, and he says he passed.
I do have results, and I don't know if I can share those results, but they were good in my favor, we'll say that.
Daniel didn't say he passed his polygraph, so I'm not going to assume that he did. Did that reporter break the first rule of statement analysis, inferring something that wasn't actually said? That montage could obviously go on for much longer, but I think you get the gist. I've been frustrated with how vague they've been, how ambiguous they've been, how inaccurate they've been, and how seemingly naive and gullible they've been to take a suspect at his word without asking for any proof. Now that we're all on the same page, let's watch some decent reporting.
It's been 4 weeks since Daniel Martell has seen his stepchildren. 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were reported missing.
I'm just surprised you guys never told me how cute he was.
Friday, May 2nd, after they wandered out of their Pictou County home. They have not been found after weeks of extensive searching the heavily wooded area.
Every day when I wake up, it's just feels like I'm reliving a nightmare of May 2nd. But the main feelings of from sadness have just turned to anger because there's no evidence as of after 1 month, and it's really taken a toll.
On Friday, RCMP say ground search and rescue crews and police will return to the area this weekend, focusing on a nearby pipeline trail where a boot print was previously located.
I know that they're working hard and they're using every resource they have, and It makes me hopeful because that's all we have at this point is just hope.
A vigil of flowers and stuffed animals has grown in recent weeks outside the RCMP station in nearby Stellarton. Since May 2nd, when Lily and Jack went missing, people here in Pictou County are still struggling to understand what happened and why there are still no answers.
To be clear, I'm not saying this report is perfect. For example, she said the kids wandered into the woods when that's not in evidence. But it does unambiguously answer one of my biggest questions about this case. And it concludes with a giant red flag from Daniel, so stick with me.
Every day, almost, I go by the RCMP, and it's just so tragic. Just so tragic. You know, I just feel so bad for their whole family. I'm hoping that they find them.
It just doesn't look good, but I hope I'm wrong.
The warden of Pictou County says many people are on edge and children are worried about playing outside.
Oh, I think it's mostly a mood of anxiety, maybe, and frustration. They too can't believe that there's not an answer by this long and this many people looking.
The RCMP have confirmed Lily and Jack were seen on camera with family the day before they went missing. Police are asking anyone who was on Gairloch Road between April 28th and May 2nd to share their dash cam or other footage with RCMP. Martel says every detail helps and could lead to finding Lily and Jack.
I'm going to keep fighting for the rest of my life to find these kids. That's the only goal I have at this point.
There's our answer. Lily and Jack were caught on camera the day before they were reported missing. Now I'd like to know where that video came from, what they were doing. Were they slumped over in the back of a car and caught on someone's dash cam, like Madeline Soto? Or were they inside a Walmart, for example, with those family members who still haven't been disclosed yet? Remember, we can't assume that the family members they were with were their mom and her boyfriend. So I give the RCMP kudos for clarifying the word observed from their earlier report. I also give the reporter kudos for leaving in that last part with Daniel. As I often say on the channel, it's never a good sign when someone who's ostensibly looking for a missing person expresses no hope that they'll ever be found, like saying, I'll look for them for the rest of my life, or OJ saying he'll never stop looking for Nicole's killer. And that's because it could be leakage that they know the person won't ever be found because they actually know what happened to them. So it always warrants further investigation. Another thing he said here also warrants further investigation. He didn't refer to Lily and Jack by name. He just said he'll look for the rest of his life to find these kids. In other words, he was using distancing language when I would have expected any sort of guardian to use the kids' names. Finally, I want to reiterate something that I said in my last video where we analyzed an earlier video with Daniel. And that's how patient and calm he is with the police who still haven't found his kids. That's very unusual for innocent parents. In fact, it has a name, ingratiation, and it's correlated with guilty suspects. And that's because they use excessive friendliness as a tactic to divert suspicion. I've put that card from my deception deck, my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation, on your screen if you want to read it yourself. But I'll just read it to you because I think we're going to see a lot more of this from Daniel if he's not watching my videos. If an individual becomes unusually polite when a sensitive topic is brought up, or in unexpected situations, like an emergency, this behavior could be an attempt to deflect attention and avoid scrutiny. If you want to see what an actual father acts like when his kid is missing and the police still haven't found him after a long time, click the video on the end card. You can also find my Lily and Jack playlist to find my analysis of their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray. Until next time, stay true.
Well, alrighty then. Let me check out his other videos. I never watch this guy.
If you have anything, come out as fast as possible.
All right. Oh, he's a lawyer. Attorney trained in statement analysis. Exposing lies and manipulation 24/7. He's an attorney. He's part of LawTube. This is a sad case. Kyron was still never found. He's a lawyer, but he doesn't give his real name. I don't know. That's a little sketchy. He could be my lawyer. I need a lawyer. And I'm going to make him my lawyer. Yeah, I couldn't remember if he was found. I mean, we all know the stepmother killed him. Hold on. I want to look something up. It doesn't say his name. I don't know. It's a little sketchy. You can't find his real name. What? No, I don't think so. But his title, he has a video called Sebastian Rogers Found by YouTubers. That's kind of clickbait. He has chosen to remain anonymous. Well, that's a little sketchy, though. Who keeps hitting Discord? You guys are killing me. You're killing me. All right. All right. I'm getting off. I'm getting tired. No, according to Google, he is a anonymous and he wants to remain anonymous. But that's a little sketchy to me. Hey, Beth. So now I'm on a mission to find out who he is and where he is a lawyer. I don't know. I don't know. I just find it sketchy if the lawyer wants to remain anonymous. Like, you don't want someone checking your credentials? I don't know. But either way, he's still hot. You're welcome, sweet misery. So, all right. I'm getting off. I have candle orders that need to get out. So if you're waiting for a candle order, I promise they're going out Monday. I got sidetracked today. I am so sorry. Ones that are waiting more than 6 days will get an extra candle. So I know there's a few of you that are waiting more than 6 days. So you will get an extra candle, just so you know. No, he sounds like he's from New York, Connecticut. He sounds like he's East Coast, but he's very cute. So, all right. I'll see you beautiful people tomorrow. Can you believe we're halfway through the fucking year already? That's insane. Insane. So once I get these candle orders wrapped up, middle of June, we're going to be doing a big push. Just so you know, the reason why I haven't changed anything with candles or done anything, because I'm running low on material, on supplies, and I won't be able to get more for like another week and a half. So that's why I haven't really been pushing candles much, and why I haven't pushed lotions or anything, because I need some stuff that I can't order at the moment, but I will be able to do it next week. So that's why it's taking a little time. So with that said, I will see you beautiful people later. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. And thank you guys for super chats. from Atacor. And like I said, fuck Brittany, fuck Queen Bee, fuck all their drama. Let's go head first into this. I mean, this looks really interesting. So I know I'm a little late, but oh well. A little late on the case, but oh well. Who cares? So, all right. I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful night. Peace.